Show is presented by Window Concepts and Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union. Now, it's the pj-fleck-show with Pierre Nugent, Ron Johnson, and Justin Gard.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the pj-fleck-show. Joined as always by the head coach of Gopher football, PJ Fleck, alongside me, Gopher Hall of Famer Ron Johnson, K-Fans Justin Gard. I am Pierre Nugent. The Gophers are back in the win column after a 35-24 victory over Louisiana during homecoming weekend. PJ, now that you've had a chance to look at the film, what has improved with your team from the past two games to what we saw on Saturday? What stood out to you?
Well, on the offensive side, it was just consistency, putting drives together, finishing those drives with touchdowns instead of field goals. We were able to do that pretty much all game, except for the first drive when we get pinned inside our two by our own mistake on special teams. And then defensively, it was just being able to get people on the ground and get off the field on third down. And we struggled with that. And that's been one of the things that we've been really good at. And this year, we've struggled at the third down stuff. But when we get it figured out, we're pretty good because we can flip the script. We got to put a whole game together, though, of offense, defense, and special teams because we played 5 games, and we have yet to do that with this team. But it's to be expected a little bit with how much inexperience is on the field, but that doesn't mean it's acceptable.
I told everybody that the Gophers were going to have another Big Ten Freshman of the Week. I just picked the wrong person. Zach Evans now gets it. 4 straight weeks. I picked Taylor. I said if he was going to go, he was going to get it. Like, there was no question in my mind he wasn't going to get it. So
you got to read that injury report 2 hours before game time.
Yeah. Forgot about that with the Big Ten. But if you look at Zach Evans and you talk about what he did this week, and then, just the 4 weeks of these running backs really kind of coming alive, what do you attribute to that?
Well, first of all, Zach Evans has earned everything he's gotten. I think everybody's seen flashes of him here and there. He had some injuries last year and then was able to play a little bit. He had some injuries in spring ball, was able to play a little bit. And I think just putting it all together for him. One thing as a head coach you have to do is you also got to make sure that player's ready to play. He didn't do anything wrong. Just, is he ready to play? And now he's ready to play. Those are decisions you have to make as a head coach that are really hard. The last thing you want to do, and you know this with covering the NFL, you put a rookie or a freshman quarterback out there in the NFL, and he doesn't do well. You could completely ruin that guy's career. Yeah. You have to sometimes be the adult and make sure that those people are ready to go handle what they're going to handle and be better at the things that they showed you in practice. All 4 running backs showed us some type of consistency. But when you pick who's actually going to get the ball, that you have to look at the margin for errors are so small. And Zach has really earned it over the past few weeks, and he definitely took advantage of it.
We certainly overblow halftime adjustments, that term, because you guys are adjusting as the game goes. But at halftime, when we did our little radio interview, you said, we're not playing good defense. You flat out said it. I thought it was very honest. I thought it was a great answer.
Thanks.
You've hinted at it. People should listen to the halftime interview. He's very candid. But it's not so much an adjustment of we just got to get off the field on third down. We got to tackle. So when you're talking to the defense at halftime, what are those discussions like?
Well, right when we all get in there, our offense and defense coaches split up, right? So they go into different areas. I go in, I address the whole team. And I got my message across very clearly, which I never really did. I usually talk to them separately as a defense and offense. I called the entire team up there. And they had to settle down, but they had to be able to hear from me that was completely unacceptable from our standpoint. And what was unacceptable. Saying something's unacceptable is one thing. What's unacceptable about it? So you're going through all those things. The coaches are taking the data of what the schematic pieces are and saying, well, they're really doing this, and they're really doing this, and this is their blitz of the week, and this is, this was their run of the week. They have more of this than we thought. They're creating the scheme that way to be able to counter what we saw in the first half. So that's what we're all doing, and then we come in there, take a deep breath, tell them they got to go out there and play better. And Bill Belichick said it the best. I think it was during one of the Super Bowl runs. He said, if you want to play better, play better.
Yeah.
That was it. That's genius.
So what did you find unacceptable? You're down 17-14. It's not like the game's out of control.
Third down efficiency, again, same thing. Eyes in the wrong spot. Tackling was poor. Our lanes and our pass rush were too wide. Everybody was trying to make a play. And when you have an inexperienced team, a lot of times what happens is they all want to make the play. And they want to make the play right now. But you can't take the cheese because you're a part of something that you fit into. You're a piece of the puzzle. And if you're out, the puzzle just crumbles over. It's like a house of cards. You can build a pretty high stack if everybody's doing their job and everything's detailed. So when this quarterback, we would run past the quarterback in our rush lanes. He'd step up in the pocket, and that's where he was the most dangerous. He's not the most dangerous if he has to retreat out of the pocket. And that's what we did in the second half. We were able to shrink the pocket, keep our lanes tight, rush to the level of the quarterback, make him escape, and if he did, it was out the back, and that's where he threw 2 interceptions to us.
You mentioned after the game that you're trying to rehabilitate, get guys back out on the field. Darius Taylor is one. Chris Ottman-Bell is another. Cody Lindenberg, who we haven't seen all season yet, is another. Do we have an update on any of those guys? How close might a guy like Cody be back at some point?
They're getting closer. You know, I always tell people with the injury stuff now, I just tell them, no matter what, I'll tell you 2 hours before game time, period. I mean, it takes everything off of us. You know, we got a bye week coming up here, too, which I think is going to help us. We got 5 really, really key players out right now that I tell you that we could really use them, especially with this football team. We said at the beginning of the year we were going to have to be pretty healthy to make a really good run at this thing. We got to get healthy. And once we do, I think we're going to be a really good football team. And we are. We've shown we're playing a lot of freshmen and a lot of young players at a lot of positions you don't want to be doing that at, and they're still playing really well. So we just got to be able to, you know, have a great week this week, great week of preparation, get to that bye week as well, and get healthy.
And when you look at Ethan Kaliakmanis, first game, threw the ball a ton, and then different calls within different games, you say, you know, it's not always going to be 50-50. I'm going to call it the way it is. But Ethan Kaliakmanis, only 2 incompletions last week. So is he starting to get better, and what is he starting to learn? Because people keep forgetting he was behind a quarterback who had been here for 6 years, so he has not had his true chance to be the leader, and now he is the leader.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just hit it right on the head. It's his opportunity to be a leader. I think Greg Harbo and Matt Simon are doing a great job of mixing it up. Every opponent takes something different to beat them. You watched the game last night. I mean, I think Seattle only threw like 8 passes. They ran the ball all because that's what it took. It's the same thing with us. We're going to do what it takes to win football games. We felt like, especially not knowing much about our tailbacks and our run game in game 1, we're going to have to throw the ball an awful lot. We have way more data now. We have way more guys that have now proven themselves where they hadn't done that necessarily in the past. And you don't have many games to go do that. You got to win the games. So we have a lot more data. We like to be able to mix it up. We want to be balanced, but he's way more efficient. He's way more confident. This is all about gaining his confidence this year. It's one thing to play football as a fill-in. It's another thing to be your team and start and build everything around you. So his confidence is building, his leadership's building by the day.
And when you see that 12 for 14, it could have been 13 for 14 with a big play. The receiver, not saying it didn't look like he was running full speed. I don't know if he knew Ethan was going to throw it that deep or what happened.
Yeah, that was more on us. That was all on us. I mean, we were doing something a little bit outside the game plan and wanted to create some type of mismatch, just get something down the field. And, you know, but where he threw it, that's not where we should throw it. Right. We should just pull it down and run at that point or throw it out of bounds. But those are the little things that we'll clean up. But that one's on us.
That's big of you, though, to consider it might have been the receiver's fault and not the QB.
That, yeah.
That's growth from you. I appreciate your growth.
I noticed he wasn't running as fast as I thought he should have been running.
That's good growth by you.
Quarterbacks aren't always the problem.
Wow.
We are the problem sometimes.
Amazing.
Is that on film?
I'm the problem. It's me. Is that Taylor Swift's
on film?
It's not you, it's me.
It's Steve Swift. The running back room, it was a few years ago, PJ. I remember whether it was a real garbage can where you put all the yards or it was mythical where you put all the yards. Either way, it was Rodney, it was Shannon, probably Bryce as well. Seems like you've got that same vibe with this group where Zach Evans wins Freshman of the Week. Darius Taylor's the first one reaching out on social media, congratulating him. That's got to be pretty cool to know that no matter who's getting the ball, everybody else in that room is excited for him.
Well, a connected team's a dangerous team, right? And a connected unit is a dangerous unit. And that running back unit is young, inexperienced, but I tell you what, they're dangerous. Nick McKissick-Luke's doing a great job of developing those guys. They're very selfless. You look at carries, it was 15, 10, 10, I think.
Right.
And that's probably more what we're going to be like moving forward. But there's going to be guys, when Darius comes back, there's going to be, you know, there's 4 guys that can do it. Now, will 4 guys all get to equal carries? Probably not, but we could mix it in there a lot more than we maybe have done in the past, where we did have Muhammad, and that was it in some instances, where now we do have 4 backs to take the load off some other guys. They all have different skill sets. They all can do different things well. So I think that's going to be our challenge moving forward is how do we get them all in the mix?
I want to change gears here for just a quick second. Last week you made some comments about the NIL deals and everything that comes with that and the possibility that you might lose players on a year-to-year basis given the state of college football where it's at right now. Can you explain to the fans exactly what is really at stake and what you meant with those comments in terms of what is a realistic way of viewing the landscape of college football right now?
Well, college football has completely changed. Whatever you have an idea of college football, like We're going to have a big recruiting class. Those guys are going to be here. They're going to play. We're going to develop them from freshman to senior year. Whoever we have, we have. They can pick up and leave anytime throughout their college experience. The transfer portal is a one-time transfer, so anybody on this team can pick up and leave. And usually they're picking up to leave for more playing time, or they're going to make money somewhere else. We have a lot of players who have left here that are getting paid somewhere else that maybe weren't going to be able to get paid here. And that's all legal now. Now it's legal. So that's part of it. So what we have to do, you love all the players you see right now. We've got to be able to keep these players here. And yes, we can sit there and go, well, we don't believe in that. Well, you're not going to see this player very long because somebody's going to buy him. There's a person out west that somebody went out and bought and got him to come out there and paid him a lot of money. And now he's one of the best backs in the country, and he should be here. That's part of it. That's where college football is. You like Zach Evans? Same thing. You like Athan? Same thing. You like Anthony Smith? You like our young D linemen? We are a young football team, believe it or not, and inexperienced. I'm not saying we're the youngest in the country, but if we like these players, then we better hold on to them, or we're always going to be young because somebody's going to buy them from us. And that's what people do. That's what staffs are. They've got staffs on college football rosters watching every opponent they play across the country, just watching who do we want off that team? Who do we want off that team? That is, it's NFL free agency with no rules. Well, rules, but no way to really monitor those rules and regulate those rules. So you've got to be whether you're sitting at your TV right now, if you are watching this going, man, I hate that, I disagree with it. You don't have to like it.
Right.
You don't have to to agree with it. It's just reality, and it's happening.
If you're one of the 500,000 people watching right now, just hit me up. I will help you guys out with the marketing side of this. This is what I do. I don't want to get paid for this as a former player. I will help.
That's what he says now. I don't know.
I get paid by my job. My job is to do that. This is
okay.
what I do for a living is marketing, and so I do have some stuff in the works. But speaking of that,
DickyToneAthletes.com.
Throw the money out of it. When you're talking about understanding players leaving for more playing time, because that's one thing you said, when you've actually shown and proved Tyler Johnson and Rashad Bateman can exist in the same offense. They've shown here Marion Barber and Lawrence Maroney can exist in the same offense. You can go to other schools, Ronnie Brown and Cadillac Williams, Reggie Wayne and Santana Moss. Yeah. How do you help your players understand that together you still both can be NFL players and you don't have to try to be by yourself somewhere else?
It's a great question. You can. But what players have now, players also have agents.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can have an agent that represents you marketing. Can't represent you for the NFL right now. You can't sign an NFL agreement with an agent right now. But what you can do is sign a marketing deal with that agent. So now you got to talk to the kid's agent. You're not even talking to the kid. So it doesn't matter what I say, right? Yeah. It's like when you go train for the NFL. Whatever our strength coaches have done and trainers have got you to that level, all of a sudden, sometimes when people hear it, they get their agent, they get the trainer, man, the strength coaches in college football don't know anything anymore. It's like you forgot everything. It's whatever's new and whatever voice you want to listen to. Our players do a great job of listening to what the facts are. I'm not saying everybody will agree with it and does it. Tyler Newman looked at all the facts to come back. There are a lot of people telling him to come out. So whether it's NIL, whether it's transfer portal, whether it's leaving early, there's a lot of people in young people's ear. And the great thing about coaches is we have no skin in the game. We don't want anything back from you. We're going to give you every amount of fact and data that you want and ask for, and you don't have to pay us. Right. We don't take a percentage. We have no skin in the game except we want the next 70 years of your life to be absolutely elite. Yeah. On the field, off the field. That's the only thing we want. So I want to answer that.
It's certainly an amazing changing world in the landscape of college football. And when we come back, we'll speak to one of the standouts in the secondary. Justin Walley joins us here on set. That's coming up next on the PJ Fleck Show.
Let's row the boat. You're watching the PJ Fleck Show.
Welcome back to the PJ Fleck Show, everybody. Special guest joining us on set now, defensive back Justin Walley with us. Justin, thank you for taking the time. You guys are back in the win column this week. We were talking to PJ a moment ago. What was different about this week from the previous two? From your vantage point, what was different for you guys on the field this week from the previous 2 weeks?
Like they say, winning is always difficult. So, you never take winning for granted. So on defense, the biggest difference I felt was just the details. And, the first half wasn't as good. So at halftime, we came in and made adjustments just to be better about the small details. And once we fix the small things, then like you can see we got stops on defense.
And when you look at the last game, Northwestern moving over to Louisiana, having to flush that game and move on, as a DB, how hard is it to kind of stay in your keys knowing this quarterback is going to extend the play, he might run? So it's like that gray area of if he gets out, I might have to go tackle him, but I still got to cover my guy until I know for sure he's running. Like, how hard is that and how quick do you have to figure that out?
Well, going to the week, we knew he was very mobile, so we always emphasize like plastering your man. So anytime you think the route's over, it's never over. So anytime he stopped, you just keep your eyes on him, and if you run again, you stay with him the whole time. So having that awareness in your head, it really helps.
PJ, when people have asked me what I think about the team and things, I point him out very quickly because he always seems to have a knack of finding the football. It's like he's got a spider web for hands. It's just that ball just is glued to it. What have you seen from Justin in his development and how he's developed as a corner for your program?
Well, I think he's always around the ball and he's always around something good happening, you know. And the one thing that he has the ability to do is flush any bad play that happened. I mean, you're a corner. There's not one corner in the NFL or college who's never been beat, right? You've been beat before. It's just how you respond to that. And he's got a very, very short memory. He's a very aggressive corner. He can tackle like a linebacker. He can cover like the corner we need him to. And he's one of the best people you'll ever meet. He's really intelligent. He's really smart. He's a leader on the field. And he just creates plays. The Nebraska play, he knocks the ball loose. You go back to the Wisconsin game, he's picking the ball off. He's sticky. Like he's hard to create space on because he is really intelligent. He's really smart. He understands route. He understands spatial awareness. And when you have a corner that's like understands that type of stuff, and then film study on top of that, it's pretty dangerous.
When I look at a football team, I always looked at the Lion King. Like I look at a locker room as the Lion King. And DBs, to me, I don't know if you've seen the Lion King, but DBs were the hyenas. You know, like sneaky, but really clicky. But you guys added Trayvon Jones. You got Tyler Newman that came back. You added Jack Henderson. As a group, how did you guys gel so quick? Because it seems like Jack Henderson fits right in with you guys. It seems like Jones fits in right in with you guys, and there's no, like, weird energy out there.
I think that goes just a testament to the whole team and how we're all connected as a whole. I know as soon as those guys got on campus, we accept like they was our own, bro. Like, they've been here for a couple years. Yeah. So, like, I remember when Trey first got here, it was me, Trey, New. We all hung out together, like, almost every day.
Yeah.
So just as, like, off the field, hanging out together, it really, like, created that bond on the field, so like it really translated over.
Because you need that conversation to happen on the field sometimes where you guys are in a bunch set and you're like, I got outside, you got inside, Tyler's got behind you. As a corner, when you know you have a caliber DB of Tyler Newman's status, does that take a little pressure off you knowing like, hey, if it's cover two, I know he's back there?
Yeah, it always, you know, we have New back behind you, you know he always can do the right thing, so it makes my job a lot easier knowing I got help. And then even if you're not supposed to help me, you know, New, he will help you some way. He's going to find a way to be around the ball, so having a guy like him back there really helps the whole defense.
Justin, lastly for you, big game coming up on Saturday against the University of Michigan. From your perspective, what is it going to take to rise to the occasion and try to knock these guys off?
Well, just like every other game, just being detailed and just doing my job. Like, don't try to do too much. We know how big of a game it is. You know, you want to go out there and make a lot of plays, but it just really just all comes down to just doing your job, your 111. Everybody do that job, we feel like we have a chance. Well, we feel like we win.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. Justin, we appreciate you taking the time for us here on set, and we have so much more coming up on the PJ Fleck Show. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about Saturday's matchup against Michigan. That's coming up next on the PJ Fleck Show.
Welcome back to the PJ Fleck Show. Let's row the boat.
Welcome back, everybody, to the PJ Fleck Show. Time now to take a look ahead to this Saturday's matchup against the University of Michigan. And, Coach, the number 2 team in the country in town. I know everybody's going to be excited for a matchup like this. When you look at Michigan, I mean, they're number 2 in the country for a reason. They've got a pretty good football team.
Yeah, hopefully another sellout at Huntington Bank Stadium. They're a really good football team. They're as good as advertised. This is the number 2 team in the country for a reason. We've got to play really well. We've got to take those 5 games, put it all together of what we have and haven't done well, and go play our best football game. And, you know, I know our players are preparing really hard, have prepared really hard, and they'll be ready on Saturday.
And they can run the ball, but they also have a quarterback in J.J. McCarthy who's pretty good as well. So this is a well-balanced team. But how do you make them one-dimensional?
Well, I don't know if it's about just making them one-dimensional because they've got weapons everywhere that can beat you. I think, like, if you see here, if you give J.J. 30 seconds to throw a ball, he's going to find one of those 5-star wideouts to throw it to. I mean, that's simple. You have to find a way to get him off this platform. You got to make him feel uncomfortable. And that's really difficult to do because he's such a good player and he's got such good players around him. Their run game, I mean, they just beat people up front. Yep. They're all big, they're all experienced, they're all seniors, they're all grad transfers. And they got two of the best backs in the country. I mean, they don't have weaknesses. You go on the defense, and people always ask, where are they? They don't have any weaknesses. That's why they're a top 2 team in the country. Most top 2 teams in the country, they don't have weaknesses. They don't have lack of depth. They have everything, and that's why they're there. And they do have everything. We have to worry about us. We got to play our best football, and that's the only thing we can control, and that's what we've been preaching to our players all week.
On the defensive side, you look at their points allowed. It's 3, 6, 7, 7, 7. It's tough. Obviously, they're number 1 in the country for a reason in that spot. So how do you go about trying to attack a defense like that? What makes it stingy?
And if you go back and see who gave up the 6, 7, 7, or 3,
not
sometimes it's not the starters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nobody has scored more than 7 points against this defense. That's a huge challenge. Now, again, that was the past. That doesn't mean that has to happen in our game. And again, part of this inexperienced team we have is making sure they understand what it's going to take to win. You can't beat yourself first. Michigan never beats himself. Right. They don't. They don't turn the ball over. They're one of the least penalized teams in the country. Well, that's a formula that we want and that we have. So we've got to play our game, but play it better than we have the first 5 games of the year.
Well, we are certainly looking forward to the matchup this Saturday night at Huntington Bank Stadium when Minnesota hosts Michigan. The Gophers looking to improve to 4-2 with a win on the season. And don't forget, everybody, you can join us Saturday morning for the Gopher pregame show and join us back here again next Tuesday for more of the PJ Fleck Show. Good night, everybody.